Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. We are very excited to be doing this, and thank you, David, and the rest of the team for allowing us to have this presentation in this time with you. We've got a great presentation planned, and we're going to just kick this off and get started. So we're going to talk about how to deploy entry-level systems with Savant. And you'll see I have my dogs joining us for the call. So I hope you don't mind. And we're going to jump right in and get started. So at this point, you should be hearing computer audio. If you're not hearing computer audio, just check your connections either with your phone or your computer, and you should be hearing audio. I do believe that this is being recorded, and so if you have any other members of your team that would like to watch this later, just contact David and he can share the presentation with you, or someone at the team, the RGB team, they can also share it with you. So today we're going to cover entry-level solutions from Savant and how you can quickly and easily deploy really fantastic systems, unique systems with the great products and deployment tools that we have with Savant. I'm very proud to be joined by Kevin Hubbard, who's the Director of Tech Support and Technical training with Savant for International. So Kevin is here. If you have any technical questions, please post them in the chat window and we'd be happy to answer those for you. So first of all, what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk about what entry-level solutions Savant has to offer, why are they so cool, and how can you leverage these solutions to add more business and win more projects by using these very unique solutions. So first, a little background information. My name is Pete Baker, and I'm president of the Big Corp, Baker International Group. And I've been in the industry for a little over 30 years. I spent the first 20 years of my career as a professional integrator, and I've worked on literally thousands of projects. Then I went to work for a company called RTI. I was the VP of Sales and Marketing there for 12 years. And now I am the owner of the Big Corp, Baker International Group. And I am a international business development manager for the brands that you see at the bottom of the screen. And specifically today, as it relates to this presentation, I'm the international business development manager for Savant in the EMEA region and also Australia, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia. And as I said, I spent the first 20 years of my career as an integrator. So I've literally worked on thousands of projects, designing those projects, meeting with end user customers, and wiring up these systems, programming the systems and deploying them. And over the course of my career, 20 years as an integrator, I learned probably the hard way that first meeting with a prospective client really is critical, and you want to make sure that you make a great first impression. And one of the keys to my success, my business doubled every year up until the day that I sold my company. And one of the keys to my success was always trying to find ways to differentiate from my competition and offer things that maybe my competitors weren't able to offer. And we're going to touch on that today with Savant, because I think we have some very powerful and compelling benefits that you can use and leverage to try and win more projects with prospective customers. So first of all, just looking at these spaces, every project is somewhat unique. Sometimes there's wiring present, sometimes there isn't wiring present, sometimes you don't have any way to get the wiring throughout the building. Maybe they're poured concrete walls or a difficult environment. Maybe it's a corporate environment where you have a client that you've deployed a system for, they absolutely love what you've offered, and they want something in their boardroom, and it's just not easy to get the wiring run in that environment. And sometimes it's just a stereo situation, or maybe they want surround sound. I've had plenty of clients over the years that really didn't watch a whole lot of TV, but they loved audio and wanted to have great audio performance throughout the house. And also, as you know, aesthetics are very important. I used to always say that with the audio video industry and as a professional integrator, that you have to sometimes balance aesthetics with acoustics and placing the technology throughout the house. And Savant really has some great solutions in that regard. And also, if you have a client that just wants single room entertainment, or maybe you start with a single room system and they want to expand that system, we have some great solutions that allow you to use Savant as a building block for a larger system that can expand over the years. So when we look at the Savant home, we want to have an application for every single project, okay? Whether it's a real large, sophisticated system that maybe has, you know, in my case, I have probably 16 rooms of audio throughout my house. I have a home theater. I have a lot of technology in my house just because I've been in the industry for so long, and it's really part of my job to install the equipment and test the equipment so that I'm better at delivering presentations like this if I intimately know the products. But you might have a client that is a little bit intimidated by technology, and you can use the Savant smart audio products just as a building block to introduce them to home automation and technology. And so we've really carefully studied these projects on a global scale and looked at how we can offer, you know, very simple but powerful building blocks for a basic system in a single room environment, and then allow to build that into a large scale distributed audio system or home automation system. And so if we look at the Savant ecosystem, we're not just looking at a control system for the audio video equipment. We will also want to be able to incorporate other elements that are important in that system so that you can create easy scenes. Like in my house, every morning I hit the good morning button and it turns on the lights to a certain level. It turns on the news in my family room, and can also adjust shades and climate control as well. So we do have other elements that can be tied in to this Savant ecosystem, whether they're Savant products or third-party products, to provide a whole sophisticated home automation system. And that can start with just a very simple device from Savant, which we'll get into in just a moment. So over the past, I would say 12 to 18 months, we introduced two really powerful and very unique products that we're going to cover today. They're two of my favorite products from Savant, the Smart Audio Soundbar and the IP Audio One. Now, these might look like traditional products that you've seen in many places and from many different vendors, but I promise you that they are very unique and very powerful and have amazing feature sets. So we're going to start with just the IP Audio One. So this is an amazing product. This IP Audio One is absolutely packed with great features, great benefits, great technology, and something that you can use to leverage and differentiate from your competition, because there really isn't any other product in the market like this product. So at its core, it's a 125 watt per channel, 2-channel amplifier. So it has a very robust amplifier built into this small box. And then it also has an embedded S2 host from Savant. So it has a control processor built into this little box, this little amplifier. It also has enhanced AVB amplification built in, which we're going to touch on, and I'll explain how that works, and allows you to expand an ecosystem throughout the house for distributed audio. Then we also have Savant Music built into this box. So Savant in the past relied very heavily on third-party integration with streaming, other streaming platforms. And the issue that we ran into, and many other control manufacturers have run into, is sometimes the integration breaks. Something changes with that third-party manufacturer, and all of a sudden the integration doesn't work anymore. And with Savant, we realized that that was going to be a pinch point and a pain point for all of our channel partners, dealers, end user customers. And so Savant took a very, very bold step, and they pulled back and allocated a lot of internal resources for software development and hardware development, and developed Savant Music, our own native streaming audio platform, which is fantastic. I use it every single day. I've used virtually every other streaming platform out there, and I absolutely love Savant Music. And you can be guaranteed that you're going to have exceptional integration with Savant Music, because we develop that in-house and we maintain that in-house. Also, with the IP Audio 1, we have IR and RS-232 control ports available so that you can easily control local sources right there at that device. We also have embedded DSP profiles for Savant speakers built into this, and fantastic DSP settings and embedded EQ settings that you can adjust and customize. Another thing that I really like about the IP Audio 1 is it does have a pre-out as well. So you can pre-out into an additional amplifier if you want to add a second zone. So this is really such a fantastic product. I absolutely love the IP Audio 1. And now we've taken that great technology and we've embedded it into our soundbar. So as you may not know, years ago, Savant acquired a fantastic company called Artisan. And when I first started in the industry 30 years ago, the speakers that I used to offer were made by Infinity. And Infinity was later sold to Harman Kardon. Still to this day, they're some of my favorite speakers I've ever owned or listened to or sold. And Carrie Christie, who founded Infinity Speakers, also founded Artisan Speakers. So there's great pedigree for the audio technology built into this smart audio soundbar and all of the soundbars from Savant. But now we've taken it a step further, and we've had a perfect marriage between Artisan and Savant by taking the Savant technology, incorporating it into this fantastic soundbar. So the smart audio soundbar, first of all, like the smart audio 1 amplifier, has a 125 watt per channel amplifier built right in. So you do have robust amplification built in, 125 watts times 2. It does have a 7-band EQ built in as well with adjustable trims and crossovers. And then we also have all the great technology from Artisan. So we have a low resonance aluminum enclosure. What that means is that there's not a lot of coloring of the sound from the cabinet or the enclosure. And also sound bars are by nature quite long, and they are apt to sag or bend over time. But with this aluminum enclosure, you're not going to encounter that problem. So with the smart audio soundbar, it's a great enclosure, great technology. We do have the long throw carbon fiber woofers and the VIFA super tweeters, but we also have the side stage tweeters, which really dramatically opens up that sound stage. And so if you compare the Artisan soundbar to another soundbar, you're going to notice that it's a much broader sound stage that you get because of those side firing tweeters. So it's a fantastic product. I really encourage you to at least try one of these, contact RGB or Savant Europe and get one of these and set it up and test it, because it is just such a fantastic product. And we also have Savant Music tied into each one of these devices. So you have a single stream of Savant Music for each one of these. So for instance, if you have a smart audio soundbar and a SIPA 1 and it's tied into AVB, which I'll show you in a moment, you'll actually get 2 streams of Savant Music. And we do support all of the traditional streaming platforms, whether you want suggestion-based content or specific content. for albums or artists or so forth. If you want to have high-res audio, we do support that as well, which a lot of other brands don't. So that's something that I would encourage you to really pay close attention to, because honestly, I think that we've fallen behind with audio compared to video. So for instance, nobody is going to want to put in a 720p television in their system now. They're going to want high definition video. And if you heard the difference between high res audio and standard res audio, you never would want to have standard definition audio ever again. And that's the reason why we're seeing double-digit growth in turntables, because they sound better and the consumer appreciates that better quality sound. Even if they don't admit that, they definitely can appreciate the better quality audio. So now just looking at the back of the Smart Audio soundbar, you're going to notice that we have 3 IR and 2 RS-232 ports built in. It can be set up either wired or wireless as far as the network connection. And we also have a local subwoofer output as well. And of course, the integrated Savant host. So one of the things that I absolutely love about the Smart Audio soundbar is the WISA technology. So WISA technology allows you to add additional speakers to that system, up to 2 subwoofers, and then also a set of rear speakers, completely wireless. So I just moved into a new house with my wife about 6 months ago, and we did add a lot of wiring through the house, but there was some places in the family room where it just wasn't going to be easy to add wiring. And very quickly and easily, I added a wireless sub, completely wireless. I just had to plug it into power. And then also added a set of wireless rear speakers, and they're acoustically matched to the soundbar as well. So you're going to have the same sonic signature across all of those speakers, the LCRs and also the rears. And of course, they do support high resolution audio, even with WISA technology and the wireless technology, and nearly zero latency. I don't notice any latency whatsoever with the WISA technology. And we also support the audio formats, whether it's 3.0 or 5.2. Like I said, you can have up to 2 subwoofers. I would strongly encourage you to add the subwoofer. Not only does it add great bass response to that system, but they're also fantastic subwoofers. They're really, really amazing subwoofers. And these are easily paired with the Savant app. In 30 seconds, you can add these speakers into the system with the Savant app. So now, once we look at the deployment of these systems, it's very quick and easy to deploy these systems with the amazing Savant Blueprint software. So when I first started with Savant, I had programmed thousands of systems over the course of my career. And I will tell you that it was a little different learning curve working with Savant, because we do things differently. And I think that it's a much more logical way to program and deploy a system. In the past, I would program each individual user interface, and then that would in turn program the system. With Savant, we do things, we flip that upside down. And so basically, with Savant, it's a very logical progression, and it's so efficient. You simply list all the rooms that you're going to have in that system, what sources you're going to have, and what you're going to use to route those sources. And then you just draw a line that shows the signal path, and automatically all the macros and all that low-level programming is automatically performed for you in the background. It's such an efficient programming process and such a logical way to deploy these systems. And Savant really developed and innovated the rapid deployment of these home automation systems. So I wouldn't want to deploy a system any other way. Now that I've used the Savant programming platform, it's such an easy, simple, logical, intuitive way to deploy a system with simple drag and drop programming, auto-generating the user interfaces. I'm a CEDIA subject matter expert on designing user interfaces. So I'm pretty good at designing user interfaces, but I'm not going to be better than a company like Savant that has spent over a decade working with distributors and dealers all over the world and end user customers and getting their feedback and working with professional graphic user interface designers to design the way that their systems are operated to make them extremely intuitive. And so you can easily design, modify, and upgrade systems. That's another thing that I love about Savant. I just updated my system yesterday, and I didn't have to plug into each individual device. I just updated the system. It automatically updated all of my touch panels, all of my remote controls, updated my, you know, anything related to my smartphone and the way that it interacts with the system or controls the system. And we also allow for system design while you're offline. If you need to make some updates to that system, you can even do that remotely. And then we also can store and reuse those configurations. So if you have a similar project, maybe you're working on an MDU, and there's a lot of similar homes or residences within that building where you're using kind of a standard package, you can reuse these system designs and quickly make any modifications. The other thing that I love about the Savant programming environment is if you have a technician that leaves or maybe is on vacation and another technician needs to take over that project, it's so easy to open up that Savant config file and see how it was programmed and make any changes. You don't have to re-engineer the whole system or reverse engineer that system to try and understand how it was programmed. It's very intuitive. And we do have training classes available as well online, and you can also contact RGB if you'd like to learn more about the Savant Blueprint environment. So now let's look at the Smart Audio Soundbar and how that system is deployed with the Smart Audio Soundbar. So first of all, if you don't have wires in the system, it's not a problem. You can deploy this system completely wireless. Stick it on the wall, tie it into your wireless network, and then run the wires right from that Smart Audio Soundbar to the TV with a little emitter and stick it on the TV, and you're ready to go. If you want to add those wireless speakers, they can be added very quickly and easily as well without any wires required. If you do happen to have a hardwired network connection there, fantastic. All you have to do is tie this back into the home network. It doesn't need to be a special network to be able to control this, and you can just set that up on the network. If you do decide that you want to add additional rooms and expand that system, maybe you put this in into a small residence and they start with just a Smart Audio Soundbar and they absolutely love it, and say, I'd really like to add some more speakers in my kitchen, maybe outside on the deck or the patio. Very easy to do that just by adding a AVB switch, which is audio video bridging, and I'll explain that in just a moment. And then you can expand that system and add additional rooms very quickly and easily. Here we have our family room system that you can see, and with 2 wireless subs as well, tied into the AVB switch. And then we can add a SIPA 1 for the kitchen, maybe a SIPA 50 for the master suite area, and that gives you 4 additional rooms. And you could add master bedroom, master bathroom, master closet, master shower, and maybe you have a pool house or an outdoor zone and you can add another SIPA 1. And they all tie back very seamlessly into this AVB network. And keep in mind, every time you add one of these smart audio products or SIPA products from Savant, you add an additional stream of Savant music. You also add additional control ports in that room. So really fantastic and powerful. So I will tell you that in the past, I had installed thousands of systems that were traditional matrix switchers or traditional distributed audio systems. And when I first put in the Savant system, it took me a little while to really wrap my brain around how this worked because it's unique. And so now when we add these additional products, you're not just adding additional outputs, you're adding additional inputs. So even if you plug in, let's say, a turntable in the kitchen or a turntable in the family room, that can be added to all those other zones. If maybe you add TV in the master suite and you want to be able to listen to that somewhere else, it's very quick and easy to do that. Or maybe you want to listen to the family room TV out by the pool if there's a sporting event on. No problem. Once you tie these into the AVB switch, it blends it all into one seamless system of inputs and outputs that can be shared across all the zones. So what is AVB? So AVB is a standard that's been around for a very long time, and it's a IEEE networking standard for distribution of audio video signals. And with AVB, it seamlessly integrates all of those devices into one system so that it doesn't even look like you have multiple devices in the system. It looks like it's one big system. In my house, I have 3 of the SIPA 125s. I have a SIPA 1. I have several smart audio soundbars, but my wife would never know that. When she looks at my system design, she just sees all the rooms and all the music streams. And we just label those music streams. I have one for me, one for my wife, one for a guest, one for the master suite area. And you wouldn't know that those are individual AVB devices. And it's extremely low latency. You don't notice any signal delay or dropout or anything like that when you're walking from room to room. You would never know that the music is streaming between these different amplifiers. And this was developed for the automobile industry, but also it's being used for pro audio, manufacturing, healthcare, robotics. All these different industries use AVB every single day. And there's clock synchronization across all of those endpoints. So you're never going to have any delay or latency when you're walking from one room to the next. So when you look at the automobile industry, automobiles now are very, very sophisticated, and they have numerous computers built into the automobile. So for me, I have a BMW, and there's all kinds of computers built into that. So if I pump the brakes or I get in an accident, there's several computers, microcomputers that need to talk to each other to deploy the airbags, to the anti-lock braking system. All of that stuff all has to be in perfect synchronization, and that's done through the magic of AVB. And so, as I said before, this is not just being used by Savant. This is being used across all of these industries reliably every single day. So now when we look at the IP audio family and these integrated amplifiers, you can see we have some really great products in this product family that allow you to quickly and easily expand that system and give you such great flexibility. I love flexibility. And whenever I would meet with an end user client, they would ask about that. What if we want to expand our system? And do we have expandability with the system and in this platform? And with the Savant IP audio platform, you have great flexibility here. So we start with the IP audio 1 with the integrated host. That's a single zone powered amplifier with a pre-out for an additional zone. And then you can move on to the IP audio 50 and IP audio 125, which are 4x50 and 4x125, also with pre-outs for additional zones as well, 1 analog and 1 digital. And of course, they all have the analog and digital inputs as well. And then if you need to add additional inputs or outputs, we have great solutions for that as well. We have input modules and also output modules, whether you need balanced or unbalanced, and those just tie right into the AVB network. So you simply connect it to a network connection, tie that back to the AVB system, and it blends it into the system perfectly. One of my favorite products is the single I/O box. That's just such a great solution product. I would recommend every integrator has one of these on their truck because this is just a fantastic product that gives you great flexibility. If you have a client that says, I'd like to add a subwoofer into this zone and enhance the audio, no problem. All you do, you need to have a network connection there, tie it back to the AVB system, and then you have a audio output, either an analog audio output that can tie into that subwoofer. Maybe you have a client that wants to tie in a turntable, no problem. Tie that in through the I/O box, or maybe an additional zone or an additional source. Maybe they want to tie in TV audio in a different zone. Very quick and easy to do that. You just tie this in to the AVB network, make your network or your analog or digital input connections, and then it just ties in seamlessly to the AVB system. And then if you need to have an additional stream of audio, no problem. You can tie that back in. That doesn't even need any kind of a traditional RCA or digital Toslink cable. You can just tie that into the AVB network, and it automatically adds it as an additional stream of music for that system. So as I said before, we have fantastic training available on the Savant University. This is something that we invest very, very heavily in. The training materials that are available on the Savant University are some of the best in the industry. And what I like about those is if you want to learn about AVB or Savant IP audio, we have trainings just on that. You don't have to sit through a 4-hour presentation just to get 15 minutes of information that you require. So I would strongly encourage you to check out the Savant University and look at the great tools that we have there. If you'd like to learn more about Savant, you can visit savant.com. You can also visit thebigcorp.com, and I have some great videos, short videos on my website under resources and Savant. So that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate your business and your interest in Savant, and stay safe out there.